I came across a how-to guide for kit bashing a Tyranid Hierophant Titan on librarianonline.com. It was posted by Damo.R. I will provide a link to this website in the description field so that you can follow along. The supplies required for the build are clippers, plastic glue, modeling saw, green stuff sculpting tools, green stuff, modeling files, preferably flat, and 2 tyrannofex Tervagon kits. The cost of this project, if you have all the supplies, would be about $100. I purchased my tyrannofex kits from Discount Game Store, and they were $48.50 a piece with free shipping. You really can't beat that. I had all the modeling supplies. If you were to go to the store to buy those, it would probably run you about $25, $30 if you had to purchase them all brand new. Alright, I'm going to clear my workstation and unbox my kits, and I'll be back in a couple minutes and we'll start step 1. Alright, I've unboxed both of my kits. I've set one kit aside. We're going to work on one at a time. I don't need these 2 sprues from this kit, so I'm going to set them to the side. I don't need the base yet, so I'm going to set that aside. And the first step is step 1. First of all, build one of the tyrannofex torsos so that it is complete. Just the torso, not the tail/leg piece, but do not attach the small mandible-like bits on the bottom just yet. Then cut off the 3 smallest back vents at the rear of the torso. Keep the 2 small side vents as you will need them later. I'm going to go ahead and accomplish that, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, I've assembled the entire torso. I have not glued on the top piece because I want to see how this plays out. I assembled the torso. I've glued everything together with the exception of this piece. And I've removed the last 3 stacks. And they're sitting right here. 1, 2, 3, the smallest ones. Now, I'm going to go back and fill these in with putty. But before I do that, I want to see how this next step plays out. And then once I figure that out, reading his directions, I'll go back and fill these holes in. Can you see those? Like that? And then I'll go back in and fill those in with putty, sand it down, smooth it out. And while I'm doing that, I'll go back and sand down a little bit here and make these smooth as well. I'm going to hold off on gluing this piece in because I want to see how the next piece fits in right here, and how this piece fits here. But all in all, this took me probably about 10 minutes to sit there and reread his instructions and try to figure it out. And I have to admit, I was kind of unclear as to what he was talking about while I read the directions. But when I started assembling it, I had that aha moment and it all came together. Once again, I've assembled the torso. I have not glued in the carapace shell part. I've cut off the stacks, and I will, once I go to the next step, I'll see how the next piece fits in there. I'll go back and I'll fill in these holes with putty, sand it smooth, and continue on. Alright, we're ready to begin step 2. I will read it for you and then I'll try to figure it out and get back with you. Let's see how this goes. Step 2. With the second torso piece, don't construct them yet. Using a modeling saw, cut each half of the torso in two, using the rib lines as a guide down the middle of the second arm socket. Make sure to cut it so that all the back vents are on the rear half. The front half should have 1.5 arm sockets, then construct each half respectively, attaching the back vents and tail/leg socket piece to the rear half, and attach the big spiky carapace plate to the front half. Alright, just real quick, my thoughts on that. While I read that, I'm going to take this piece off. While I read that, he's instructing me to cut, I don't know if you can see that, down here and make this 2 pieces. And then the front part, well, hold on a second, huh? The front part will go here, and then the back piece will connect into here. I'm going to go ahead and take some time to sit down and see if I can figure this out, and I'll see you on the backside. Alright guys, I'm back. I just finished step 2. Let me show you what I got. I've got the tail section attached. The stacks are here. And if you look right here, this is where it's cut in half. You see it? Now, I followed the second rib line from this little, where you attach the mandible, the second rib line over. I followed that down on both sides, and I noticed on the right side it came out a little uneven. I had to sand it down to where it would fit in there smooth. Alright, so there is a little bit of playing here. On this side, the same thing happened. I went from the second rib line from the mandible, and it came out, it was a little uneven on the right side, and I'm assuming that's the way, because he's standing kind of cockeyed, and all I did was sanded it down to where it was smooth. That's the piece, and there you go. That's the tail section there. Before I go on to the next step, though, I'm just gonna kind of see if I can see where I'm heading. He's got it attached like that. Now you see these little mandibles right here? I'm assuming I'm gonna have to cut those off. We'll find out in the next step, because of those I can't get it in there quite right. And then on the front side, he's gonna be up like this, and that's gonna come in kinda, remember I hadn't glued that piece on yet, so if I take that off, look at that, that'll kind of go in like that. Maybe shave these off, go in kind of like that, trim this down and slide it in. So maybe it was a good idea I didn't glue that in. We'll find out though. That was the second step, and I think it went pretty well. All in all, the second step here, assembling this, getting it cut, took maybe about 15 minutes. I know in the TV land it's probably only like about 30 seconds, but that was about 15 minutes. Alright, well, let's get going on step 3.